All right, hi guys. We're back here to do a little bit of shop time at Dig It RC. So what I want to do with the King Hauler here is I want to try and make it a little bit heavier, make it a little bit more capable. It's all about traction force. So what do we need? We need traction, which we need to make sure that our wheels are getting to the ground. Tread can have a lot to do with that. Locking the diffs can have a lot to do with that. Having the power behind that traction to move it, but also with that traction force, we want to make sure that we got enough weight in the truck itself to pull the extra weight that's on the back end of it. So we want to create a little bit more tractor force with this truck here. I put an 80 turn motor in it already, so I've got a little bit more power as far as torque goes, and that's what we really need when we're pulling. And now I need a little bit of weight, because as you guys might have seen in the last video, is my front end was actually starting to come up a little bit with that heavy load on the back end. So I want to get a little bit of weight in the front so that we can keep that front end down. But I want the overall truck a little on the heavier side as well, because in some of my older videos, you can see when I'm pulling the trailer, especially if I hit any kind of uphill slope with it, and the trailer's heavier, got more weight than what's on the axles here, it just spins out real easily on even slight hills. So I want to try and take care of that, because I do use this truck for the most part on dirt. It is a highway truck. It's for hard surfaces, but that's not what I use it for, so I'm going to customize it a little bit here. One of the things I want to do first, we're going to get a weight on it, but I want to see where the center of gravity is on this as well, so we kind of know where we want to build our weight. So as we look at it here, we're right about mid to front of the sleeper for our center of gravity. So we're just right in this location, right about here. So we'll probably use our sleeper mostly, if we can find some room in there, to add a little bit of weight. However, due to the front end wanting to lift, I'm going to adjust that CG a little bit more. And I'm not going to add a lot, but I'm going to add a little bit to the front end, if I can find some space there. So let's kind of dig into this thing, see where we're going to add it, because also I don't want to get the weight too high. I want to try and keep the weight as low as possible to, again, keep that center of gravity low on this rig. So let's get started. All right, so we'll start with getting a weight first. Not a bad weight, 8 pounds, 7 ounces, so almost 8.5 pounds. Let's see what she weighs when we finish up here. So it's just the 8 screws, 4 on each side. And we just got to maneuver our stacks. Very, very light body. Oh, and by the way, that weight and my center of gravity was with the battery pack in it. But I might even have room right down here on the deck itself to throw down a little bit of weight. I got my receiver running loose in there. But yeah, there's a lot of space right in here that I can stack that right on up there. Sweet. That's gonna be cool. So that's good. Put that right there. Let's get this guy over. Watch all of our wiring. Okay. Do my best not to scratch up my body. I do like the way it looks. I'm gonna try a couple things. Got some hollow tanks right here. If I can open these guys up, there's room for some weight in there, man. We could throw some weight, just have that hanging down there and use up that wasted empty space. remember if I glued those on or not. Nope. Just pressed on. Boom. See what I mean about using screws? Alright. Boom. Okay, so, and it looks like I got some room in here for some weight. Let's see how much we can get in there. Sticky stuff can be mushed down. Kind of a foam tape backing. Take a look at these things too. This is what I used on the excavator, but they're just a nice metallic black finish. Very nice. And these are not lead weights. I think they're like some kind of a zinc metal. So it's a lot like the material that the excavators are made of. It's hard to cut like steel. They don't bend. But the tape holds up really good to heat. Because when you're cutting them, they get really super hot. It does get a little sticky and gooey. But once it cools, I mean, I've had no problems with them sticking after cutting them. I mean, they're designed to be wheel weights. They got to hold up to some heat. I guess I should have checked this before starting to stick them. I'm just assuming this is exactly the same. We'll go with it. So the last one we'll just we'll set in here. Go right in the bottom. Get two in there. No, just the one. Okay. Maybe. Let's try it. Two. Let's actually turn them. Full tanks of fuel. Oh yeah, oh yeah, all right. think that will work just fine. Okay. So that means we're going to get a little bit or better than half a pound in each fuel tank. That's pretty sweet. Yeah, so I want to make sure I go the same way. Now, the other thing we want to do is we are going to add a little bit of weight so that the front end's a little heavier, but not too much. Like with the overall weight being more, it shouldn't be too bad. But if you get the front end too heavy, then it doesn't roll well, and it'll try to push through instead of these front wheels trying to roll over obstacles. It more tries to push through them, and that doesn't work really well either. That's kind of where the Tamiya truck really has some issues, that little dump truck. Because it does all right if you put a full load in it. Put some weight in the back end, it drives fair on dirt. But this with bigger tires, bigger diameter, does much better anyway. But it still will have some issues And that's where you run into issues running in snow in these. It just packs up on the front end, blocks it to where it just pushes the snow instead of rolling over it. If it was all-wheel drive, these things would do pretty good in snow too, I think. Here, what do you think? I like it. I think we might be able to do it on, I don't know if we can do 3. I'll flip it up and look at it and see if we can do 3. We might be able to just do 2 on that side. So, but we only got 1 left and we'll be down another stick. It's awesome. Now, this is still right about our center of gravity, slightly forward of it. We just got to stay clear of this area for the stacks to drop down on both sides. Other than that, if we stay within the inside, because the body just frames all of this, both, you got two deckings, and so if we stay within our decking, we should be all right. Just kind of gauge what we have room for here. I think we're going to be able to do doubles, an ounce at a time. Oh yeah, definitely, without getting in the way of anything, and we can stack that up as much as we want. I don't think we don't have room to go to, and I'm not cutting these. I don't want to do a bunch of cutting. Well, that is, oh, I don't know, that's close. I could go that way and then do a single over there. But, you know, I'd rather just have more room. More room is better. I don't want to make it too tight, just for ease of getting this cab back on. Set here, and we get it rotated around a little bit. Alrighty, back end over here. All right, maybe we can get these wires hid too. That would be awesome. Yeah, when I get the front shots with the grill, you can really see the wire sticking through. And when you get that all hid, make it look more like a black radiator. Tons of wires. All the lights, sound, all those goodies, it sure starts adding up in here. Especially with the Tamiya system. But it's pretty good. I like that MFC unit. It does sound really good. These wires, there we go. All right. That's no more difficult than it usually is to get on with all that wiring and everything. So what I need to do is grab a quick measure and put a block in front of that tire there. So I want a good idea of how much space I've got to the top. And it looks like I've got plenty of room in the front if I hang out a little bit. So rough estimate here. I think we could go 34 millimeters, maybe 35 to the top. So for that, grab a couple of these. So we can safely go 7 high. We can safely go 7 high in the front. Let's see how much weight that'll put us forward on our CG. Because I think I can do 2 wide. So that'd be 7 ounces. If I doubled it, that's 14 ounces. We could almost go a full pound of extra weight in the front. Is that going to be too much? I don't know. If it is, we can remove it. Right? I'm gonna have to do another test fit to make sure I don't stick out this way too far. Like I say, as long as I don't go past this area right here, I think I'll be good. I will still test fit. Oh no. Oh, those are trying to. They folded on me. That was close. At least I didn't push them together too hard. Okay. That's 1 ounce. And what I want to do is I want to put these right here, like that. I'd like to put a piece of black foam or something right here too, just so you can't see any of the wiring. I'll get away with leaving this bottom one. Maybe as I clear these, I can just step it back over the motor. So like this one a little bit further back. What about maintenance of the motor though? I mean, sir, pretty much if I do anything with the motor or the servos, I'm probably gonna have to remove these weights, which will just be a matter of getting the bottom ones loose. Not a big deal. way off now. We're gonna move that way forward. And I just worry mostly on empty weight. When I'm pulling a load, it shouldn't be too bad. That'll help keep that front end from lifting off the ground. But I don't want so much weight that I'm loose in the rear and I can't drive it empty on the dirt roads. And the only way to check that is to drive it and see. Okay. Let's see where we're at in our CG so far. Whee, way forward. Not bad though. We're right at the front of the fuel tanks now. So we've moved from about here to just about here. That's awesome. Yes. final center of gravity is right about the tank strap. So we went from about here to here. So we went about 3/4 to 1 inch forward of what our original center of gravity was. And it still feels like the CG is pretty low. So that's good. Let's see how she performs. All right, so I got it set up out here in an area that would usually cause some problems bobtailing. Real loose and light in the rear end. This dirt doesn't really compact out here. It just stays really loose, so this whole area is like that. Now we're a little wet right back in here, which helps out a lot. But we're just gonna do a little bit of driving with it here and see what it does. You can see how loose that is. Nice and slow here. Turn it into soft stuff. It'll really give you problems. Not a problem at all. Alright. There we go. That's just pulling out. Sweet. The extra weight sure does help with the traction. So even though I don't have more aggressive treads on here, with that rear end locked up and that extra weight, I get much better tractive force with this truck. And so I'm hoping that will help when I'm running the flatbed with loads that aren't as heavy on the front end, being able to pull those around still. So we'll see how much more capable that makes this truck. Some downsides I see is, I might have to upgrade the steering servo. That is a fairly high torque servo in there. But if it doesn't hold up to that extra weight on the front end and stuff, we might have to change that out. But I think everything else will probably be good on this.